Raise your hand if you have questions for Coach. We'll start with Sweetie.
Hey, Cuonzo, I'm just curious. We talk a lot about you guys' fast-paced offense, and I know they're separate sides of the floor, but they affect each other. I guess how does that new kind of quick offense affect the defensive side of the floor and what you guys are kind of teaching?
I just think the biggest thing we work toward, playing hard, competing, but the efficiency I think is the biggest thing, and that of course entails fresh legs and fresh minds. So as opposed to 2 hours of practice on the floor is probably an hour and a half, hour 15 outside of maybe because we spend the first 30 minutes half and half on watching film and stretching. Then after that, you're probably talking on the floor. We're talking, resting, free throws, an hour 15, early in the year, hour 30. Because I think it's important that they stay fresh. But just, we never stop talking about playing defense and playing hard. Those things are very important. There are probably a few things that you give up because you're playing with such a pace, but the energy and the focus has to continue to be there. So you manage both of them. We don't do as much contact in practice like this, where there's a lot of aggressive physical banging because you want to keep fresh legs. You don't want guys injured. So we do a lot of 5-on-0 stuff or 3-on-0, 4-on-0, just so we can stay fresh. Yeah.
Dave?
Cuonzo, what'd you like about this series with Liberty you've got going, and what kind of challenges does Coach McKay's team have?
I mean, just good team. They've obviously won the league. He's done it. I didn't realize Richie been there for 8 years. He's done a tremendous job in building that program. They won the conference 2 straight years. And again, good size, good athleticism, really good guard play. They defend you. They execute what they're trying to do on the offensive side of the ball. And again, it's a combination of motion style offense with Princeton, because it spaces you out. You got your elbow cuts, you got your tight curls, ball screens, slip screens, all of that. And it's more of a mental game. Of course, they play physical, but it's a mental game. You have to be prepared for every little thing. And it's a game that we talk about and we say it all the time. But this is a game, 40-minute basketball game. It doesn't matter what the score is, whatever the ebbs and flows of the game. You have to finish the basketball game because they can make. And they'll make those threes. I don't know if you all remember. I know you do. Marshall Henderson that played at Ole Miss. They'll make some of those where it's a deep one. It's like, and it'll take a little bit out of you. So you have to stay focused and finish the game.
Andrew?
Hey, Coach, just how do you think your team has handled the travel with the COVID restrictions? Drew just mentioned you guys are riding a bus now instead of a plane.
Oh, they've been professional. We humble men around here, so I mean, it doesn't bust or whatever. As long as we get what we have to get through, we're healthy in a timely manner. We get there and do the things necessary to be successful. We approach it in a business-like manner. We do the things necessary to be compliant from an administrative standpoint, but also being fiscally responsible in the times that we're in. But no, our guys, they're not those type of guys, and we don't foster that type of environment either.
Mitch?
Hey, Cuonzo, I know after the game the other day, you said you felt like Kobe didn't nearly play his best game, even though he had 14 points. I'm curious just if you could expand on that a little bit. What more do you think he's capable of going forward?
A lot of things. I think he's a guy that you can flow your offense through him because his ability to handle the ball and get to the rim and do other things. And not to say he played bad. I mean, I just think, I'm looking at the points, okay, he 14 points, but I thought there could have been more. I thought there were 3 layups, 2 of them that he missed around the rim. But I thought even his drives, it wasn't instinctual, and he has the ability to drive the ball and make plays, and just really the flow. And not that he lacks confidence, but just the flow and the play and being physical around that rim, because I think he can give us a little more around that rim as well.
Ben?
Coach Drew was just talking about how he feels like this group is really built for this early success that you've had. How have you seen the group handle, the 3-0 start and build this momentum?
I think good. I think good because I think they value each other. They know how hard it is. Just in looking at the schedule, we were playing Wichita State before COVID. We was working toward that. So you try to pick teams. They'd be good teams. Oregon obviously worked itself out, but for the most part, all the other teams we were scheduled to play. And just because you want to challenge yourself, and it's that you have to, when you're talking postseason play, you have to play a certain schedule. And it just, I think it's basketball to them. You know, it's competing, it's playing hard, it's playing together, it's executing what we're trying to do, continue to get better every day. We want to challenge ourselves. All those things, I think, that make you a good team when it's all said and done. And again, when you have experienced guys like we have, they understand the importance of preparation, doing the right things, proper rest, and all that. But I mean, they're okay with it.
Eric,
Hey, Cuonzo, I know we got to talk to you right after the Oregon and Wichita State games, but after watching some of that film, was there anything that stood out to you that you maybe didn't see live that you really picked up on?
After watching those two games, I'll tell you when I see you in person, all the bad stuff. But I just think, just the good. I just thought our guys, again, shared the basketball. We have to continue to cut our turnovers down. I mean, like I said, a 17 turnover game against Oral Roberts. Like to attribute that to being the first game, and I think we're starting to settle in more. And there are certain ones, not that we promote turning the ball over. There's certain ones that we're willing to accept as a team and as a staff. That stuff that we talk about in practice just to keep the defense honest. But no, I just think that they're making progress. Two talented teams, two physical teams, which we expect all that. Two teams that has a championship pedigree, and there's a mental approach in going against a team like that, knowing that you have to beat them. They're not going to give you anything.
Mike.
Coach, we hear a lot about, I guess they call it basketball IQ sometimes in the game. How would you rate this team in that regard? What is their IQ in terms of knowing the game? I mean, you guys look at film and then they can execute. Is that a high level thing this group has?
I think we have intelligent guys in the classroom, and I think those are two different things. Because oftentimes we assume someone is very intelligent in class and they have the same thing on the court. Because I've been around a couple of guys that were tremendous in the classroom. They struggle with certain things on the floor. I think our guys are good. Of course, some are better than others. But as far as film study, in some ways, they don't really have a choice for that, because as a coaching staff, there's certain things that we demand. So there are probably 15 minutes a day that we would take from court activity and utilize that in film. Because as you learn and you study, people learn differently. Some learn it on the floor, some learn it watching on film, and then some learn it with a combination of things. But of course, there's some guys better than others, yes.
Colin.
Hey, Coach, I know you said you liked how your team shared the ball at Wichita State. I'm curious, Xavier Printy didn't have the best shooting night, but is that some growth that you've seen in him to be able to stay involved in the game offensively, even when his shot's not falling, and continue to find his teammates?
Yeah, and it's just basketball. And the thing we talk about, if those are shots that you practice, then those are good shots. I thought some of his were rushed in certain situations, because I thought he could have got downhill, made other plays, but you want him aggressive. I thought sometimes when they were indecisive on their switching, he could have attacked the rim, put pressure on that big guy, and to find other guys. But no, you want him aggressive, and as long as those are things that he's practicing, because I think right now at the pace he's playing up and down the floor, he's at a high level, and that's pressure enough. Whether or not he's making and missing shots, that's pressure on other teams' defenses.
Jack.
Cuonzo, your next road game is January 2nd, and I know there's not nearly as many fans as there usually is, but is there any kind of advantage to being at home for that long despite not having fans, or as many?
I think it's a good thing to be at home. I mean, just because there's comfort in knowing your routine, your day-to-day schedule. So that part is good. But if we have to go on the road, that's fine. I mean, I think with the lack of fans, it's simply basketball. It's the execution, it's being with your teammates, and you really find out about a lot of teams. How can teams perform without certain fan bases? Can they still have a foundation? Can they still function? And then the other part I think you take for granted sometimes, and I say this with all due respect, the officiating of games. The game's officiated on the floor now. You don't get consumed with what goes on in the stands and the atmosphere. Have you change a call, a charge call, and those sorts of things. I think the game is played on the floor and it's officiated on the floor, and then I think that's a good thing.
Bill.
Yeah, you just kind of answered my questions. I was just going to ask what felt different, just playing, maybe from a coaching standpoint when you're there. Was there anything that you consciously noticed the first couple games when it was quiet or just different?
I mean, again, I'm not judging anybody else, but it's a good thing I'm not a cussing man, because it's so quiet. And so you have to be careful. I'll be getting calls from my mom, my wife, and everybody else. But I think you have to you have to do you and be you. But it's just you have to figure out where that microphone is. Sometimes I might say something jokingly about one of my players, and somebody might, if you don't know me, view that differently. Like, man, what is he saying? What is he doing? So you have to be conscious of those sorts of things.
Dave, do you have another one?
Yeah, Cuonzo, Drew made the point that this group hasn't received a lot of kind of outside attention. That not the spotlight hasn't been huge on them, like it may be if you keep winning some games. How is this group kind of equipped to handle a little bit more attention like that?
Well, I just think they're okay with it, but you have to go through it. You have to go through it. So to say right now, I think they're okay, but as you continue to go and you continue to work and have success, then that's different. You never know because you never know when you might get phone calls of people you never got calls from. So all those sorts of things. So you have to be careful of that. And we try to keep it ground level here as a coaching staff with our guys, but I'm not sure we'll get a lot of accolades and praise because it's easy, because we don't self-promote. So it's easy to miss out on Mizzou basketball because we just go about our day-to-day business. And you have some that self-promote, they politic behind the scenes and all that, which that doesn't matter to me. So I've never been consumed with that.
Mason?
Hey, Cuonzo, just looking through Liberty's film, what stuck out to you about their tape and some areas of their defense that you think you can attack tomorrow?
The areas of attacking, I'll give you that tomorrow after the game. But right now, I just think they're a good team. They play well on both ends of the floor. They execute offensively. And defensively, you have to move the ball because, known as a pack line defense. So that means you have to make plays and you have to make shots against a defense like that. And if you can't make plays and can't make shots, you can't move the defense from side to side. It'll be a long night for you.
Got time for one or two more. Karen?
Hi, Coach.
How you doing?
Congratulations on being Coach of the Week. I mean, you are being noticed with that 3-0 start. Can you talk a little bit about why this team is 3-0? Is it chemistry? I mean, X's and O's seem to be the same every year, but are these the right pieces together that kind of just are creating this positive atmosphere and the awards are just coming along?
I think, are they the right pieces? Yes, I think that's the case. And thank you. As far as that, it's hard for me to receive that type of praise because I always felt like the players do the work on the floor and you have a staff. So I'm humbled by it, but sometimes it's uncomfortable, to be honest with you. But yeah, we got the right guys and we got good guys. We got the guys that have passion for each other. And I think when you have that, especially in today's society with the talks of one and done and trying to be a pro, so you get so consumed with that as opposed to what we do right here. And that's not an easy thing. And then you also have access to your phone to see what people are saying about you or maybe saying about your teammate. I could only imagine how tough it would have been for me playing in today's game, just because of all those things swirling, because everybody want to be successful. Everybody want to make the big shot, be the leading scorer and all those things. And who gets the praise for setting a good screen and getting a rebound and getting a key box out. So we try to make sure our guys understand we applaud and appreciate the little things that they do in order for our team to be successful. But it's an everyday challenge, and I say challenge in a good way.
Can I just ask one quick question? When you're on these long bus rides, what does everybody do? Do they sleep? Do they sing? Do they read? I mean, is it bonding time? I mean, what's a good bus ride for a team when you're trying to make the best of this COVID situation?
A lot of joking. The one thing I will say, some sleep, yes, but the one thing I will say is it's amazing how when guys come in as young guys, as freshmen, and then all of a sudden you hear the conversation now as they get older and what they talk about. And it's just a maturity from a young man into a man. That part for me is impressive because that's the same thing I hope for with my children. But it's the stuff that they talk about now is business, and yeah, they love basketball, but they also understand there's something bigger and more important than actual basketball game.